Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Mike and this is Build and Tinker, and we're back with the 66 Batmobile from Fanhome. We're doing issues 87 to 92 today. There's a couple of little engine pieces to add and part of the steering box, and then we're actually going to crack on with some of the larger body pieces, which I'm really looking forward to. So let's get started. So here we are with the Batmobile on the table, and it's a really large model. It just about fits into frame. I'm not sure yet where I'm going to actually display it, but certainly deserves somewhere pride of place. So let's get the first parts out for issue 87 and see what we have. And with the build instructions in front of me, we have the first parts out, and this is actually a wheel arch liner that's going to go over this front wheel. We also have some other pieces here. This is the an end piece for the wheel arch liner. And we also have this metal piece, which is the cover for the steering box. And then there's some other brackets and a little pipe, which I believe needs to go somewhere in the engine bay. We're actually going to have to turn the model over to put some of this on, which is a bit of a shame. Would have been probably easier if we got some of these parts earlier. But we have what we've got, so let's start with the first instruction, and it's actually going to be this steering box. Now, or the cover for it at least. So we can actually do this from the top of the car, and what you'll notice is the steering box cover is already installed. So why do we have another one? Well, it would appear there was obviously a correction to be made, and they've given us a replacement piece. So we're going to start by unscrewing the top of this one. All these screws are AM screws, so they're all the same. I keep the screws because they've not given us any replacements. And with the cover removed, we can now look. This is the original part. They look identical from the top, so try not to get them mixed up. And internally, there doesn't seem to be a lot of difference, but maybe there's some difference in the scaling. Not entirely sure. I think there's a subtle difference on the inside of this piece here. So let's pop that on. And with the new cover installed, I will just try and turn the wheel and see, turn the column and see if the wheels move, and they are. I mean, they were before, so I'm guessing there was a need to replace that, but I don't know what it was. Next, we need to prepare this wheel arch liner, and we start by putting a small bracket on this end, and it's this L-shaped piece. So it looks symmetrical on both sides, seem to be about the same length. So it sits on top of here, and then there are two AP screws that hold it into place. So this larger bracket now attaches to the small bracket that we've just installed, and it just sits over like so. And again, two more AP screws. Then on the bottom of the wheel arch liner goes this very small plastic piece here, and it looks like it's a sort of pipe junction of some kind. Now we need to get it the right way around, which is a little bit hard to see in the picture, but there is a couple of posts here. See if I can show you that stick up. There are, they stick up there. And it's one of those that we need to insert into a bracket in the bottom of here. So if we flip this over, we'll see there's a small bracket just there. And that's got, looks like a keywayed hole in it. Yeah, so there's a shaped piece here. So it is shaped to ensure that you get the right part in. And it does just click into place, but it's a little bit fragile, so be careful with it. And now we need to take this brake pipe, and we need to actually fit this to the car, and they want the car upside down for that, so I'm going to need to grab some foam. So the line that we're installing goes in this area here, and this is the line. So it has a curved piece. That's going on the engine side. It needs to thread underneath the lower wishbone here, towards the back. That's really hard to show you, but just down here there's a small hole in the front of the engine block, and we need to get this end pushed into that hole. Okay, so I've managed to get it in. It was ridiculously fiddly. It goes from this point here up here and along, and then out underneath the front wishbone and this chassis brace, where it sort of just now dangles. Now I've got quite a lot of loose lines here. They make us fit all these lines, and then over time they just pop out, and now I don't even remember where half of them go. So I'm going to need to go back at some point with the magazines, go back through them all, figure out where these are supposed to have ended up, get them glued into place, because we've got lines everywhere. I genuinely have no idea why they thought it was a great idea to fit that at this stage and not earlier. There we go. Right. Okay, so funnily enough, the next stage actually talks to us about some of these brake lines, and for this we need to get the car the right side up. This is going to be a little bit fiddly because they want us to attach brake lines to this little fragile piece of plastic we just fitted before it's attached. So it wants us to sort of hover it above the car whilst we attach lines, and I think we can all see where that's going. So this wheel arch liner is ultimately going to live all the way back here, right on this frame, so a long way back from the wheel, and we're not going to be able to get to this at that stage, which is why we need to attach these lines. But the first thing we need to do is find them. Now there's a couple of lines just here, which are they're brake lines, and it wants us to bring them up through the frame but on the inside, so between the engine and this frame rail. Okay, so there's the two brake lines, and then there's another one that's actually the line that comes off of this wheel, so we need to figure out where that's supposed to route. Okay, so it's currently coming off of this wheel here, and we need to bring it up under this frame rail here, pass it over the top of the bow housing, under these engine components, then it's going to come out here with these other two. Then each of these plugs into one of these points on this little joiner. They have told us which is which, so the one from the right hand wheel goes on the little post on the front, which is here. No, sorry, and then the others go one underneath and one on the side. I'm going to put the longer one on the side because it needs to be longer to reach. And with those three hoses attached, we can gently drop the wheel arch into place. Okay, and it's now in place. And we're going to secure that down with a couple of CM screws. And that's the last piece fitted, but we do have to just make a small adjustment here at the end. So right here is the hose that comes out of the airbox, and this piece here, this bracket we've just fitted, it's part of the front wheel arch lining. That needs to be clipped together, so that little post goes in there, as you can see, and holds it in, and that keeps it nice and rigid. You'll probably also notice that I've still got lots and lots of loose hoses, so we are going to have to go back at some point and sort all of those out. But that's the end of issue 87, and we'll move on to 88. So issue 88 is very much like issue 87. We're just doing the other side of the car. So we're going to make up the wheel arch liner with the two brackets. It doesn't have a hose clip on it, so there's no hoses to run to it. So it's a little bit simpler. So I'll just get that made up and attached now. And with that wheel arch liner installed, we now move on to the next step, which is actually to install the steering column and attach it to the steering box. Now, we're not going to do that, and that's because in order to do that, you have to finally install the interior. So that's the seats and the floor and dashboard and everything, and then attach it to this. And we don't want to do that because we're not done with the interior yet. We are modding it, and we're going to be fitting the Mike Lane back dash. So we're keeping the interior out. It's not going to stop us doing what we need to do. There's no hurry to get the steering wheel attached, so we will crack on with the next part. The next stage is actually to install this front firewall with the battery and everything, and it sits around this area here and is attached to the body floor. So where the dashboard comes up, there's a couple of little screw holes, and they attach to these little lugs here and here. So again, we won't fit it now because otherwise it's just going to fall out, but it goes in with the body. At the point that we install the firewall, there's quite a lot of hoses to attach to it. Some of them, as you can see, are sort of lying down here. There's also a few which we've got loose still in our box. They gave us these hoses in various different issues. Some were with issue 85, some were with issue 86. Some were even as far back as issue 39. Given that most of these hoses have managed to fall off in some way or other during this time, and we've lost all of our spark plug hoses, it probably pays to just go back to those issues and try and trace every single hose. It would probably make sense with a lot of these models to do the hoses at the end. I've said this before, they just fall off unless you glue them. They've given us another hose here. It's actually a solid plastic one here in issue 88. Again, that can't be fitted right now because, well, I don't know where one end goes, and the other end, because it doesn't tell us yet, and the other end goes onto the firewall. So again, we're going to put that to one side. But that's it for issue 88, and we'll look at issue 89 now. Well, issue 89 doesn't really ask us to do anything, but it is a great piece of bodywork, and it's worth looking at. And here it is. And in the process of taking the Batmobile off the bench, another hose fell off, and I've literally no idea where that's from. So that's going to be another piece of investigative work that we're going to need to carry out. So here is the main piece of bodywork that we get with issue 89. And as you can see, it's pretty familiar. It's the rear end with the iconic fins and the rear wheel arches there. And of course, here we have where the flame afterburner is going to be installed. And I believe that goes in the very last issue. So they didn't actually ask us to do anything other than remove these two pieces of metal here. These are purely for the packaging to ensure that it remains straight and doesn't get bent. But they're not needed for the model. They can come off. It's also worth, at this stage, just investigating the paint. Make sure you're happy there are no blemishes or scratches, bubbles or anything like that. And this one, well, this one looks pretty good actually, so I'm quite happy with it. It doesn't need to be returned. Issue 89, probably the easiest one you'll ever do. You simply need to open the box. So what does issue 90 have in store for us? So issue 90 is another large piece of bodywork, and it is for the front of the car. What's the middle, really? This is where the doors go, this is where the windscreen goes, and this is where it meets the rear of the car. This bar here, again, is another packing piece, so we're going to remove that now. Again, I'm pretty happy with the paint, although most of this I'm not going to see because the doors are going to cover this and this is going to be covered too. But you will see, I think you might see the sills, and you'll certainly see this area here, which is just behind the door. But the paint's all good, so we are not worried. With the packing braces removed from this part as well, these two are going to come together. So we want them in the upside down position. And then basically this end just sits onto that end, and you'll see where the screw holes are. I'm going to put a bit of foam under the bottom here just to level it out for us. And then we screw these two halves together. There are 4 screws and they go in here, and they are EMs. And there they are, bolted together. There are 2 more screws on the underside, just here and here, also EMs. And there we are with the pieces completely bolted together there with the 6 screws, and looking pretty awesome. Can't wait to get this on the actual car. So that was issue 90, pretty straightforward, but really impressive results. So let's have a look at issue 91. And in issue 91, we go from some of the largest parts of the car to some of the smallest, where we're adding in door latches and some detail pieces. And there's also a couple of little springs. So hopefully we will not lose any, because they have a tendency to twang away at times. We're going to start with the easy pieces, which are these wonderful metal tread plates. They're really nice, and they've got this sort of pattern finish. So they're chrome on one side, and then they've got this pattern finish on the other side, as a tread plate does. And they screw into the door openings here on the sill with some silver screws. They're going to look pretty awesome. They're not handed, they're both the same, so they can go on either side. You just need to make sure you get them the right way up. And there's a little packet of chrome ZM screws here. And there we have both of those tread plates installed. So next we're installing the door locks, and they come in multiple pieces. So you have this sort of main unit here. There's a cover for it, a piston, and a spring. And we start by installing this sort of cover piece first. Now they are handed, so you need to get the correct side. And if you look inside, there is it's stamped with an L or an R. So this is L here on the driver's side. Basically, you've got to get these the right way around. So we start by turning the car over, which means L is now closest to me. So the bracket sits this way around in the bottom of this groove, and there's 2 AM screws that go in here to hold it in place. And then we need to assemble the piston and the spring. So the piston has this sort of flange halfway, well, 3/4 of the way down. So there's a short end and a long end. So the spring goes on the long end. So we need 2 AP screws, and we also need this little cover to go over the top. So with the spring on the piston goes into here, and it goes into a little hole that sticks out on the other side. And you can see if I push from the other side, that piston is moving. We just pop the lid over the top and screw it down. And I would say don't do it up super tight. I had to back the screws off about a half turn because when I tightened them fully, it stopped the piston from moving. So just make sure the piston can move freely, just like that, from pushing it from the other side. And then we just repeat that, but on the other side of the car. And that is the end of issue 91, and issue 92 is next. So let's get that open. And here is the part for issue 92, and again, another large, chunky piece of bodywork. This piece will be on display, so we are going to check the paint. Again, so far, it's looking pretty good. It's a huge piece, and it looks awesome. Obviously, this is the rear of the car that goes into the passenger cell. There's your trunk lid, and then this is where the 3 rocket launchers sit. And it really is a wonderful piece. So what they ask us to do in this issue is to simply attach this to the piece we just assembled. So we'll bring that up to the bench. And this is going to sit, let's get it the right way around. You have to be careful here now not to knock the paint. That's going to sit on there like so. And whilst gently holding it and bringing it upside down, there are a number of screw holes along this plinth here, and there are posts that stick out of this piece. And it screws in very simply all the way along. Now, it's up to you if you actually do go and attach this at this stage. It is what the instructions say. However, having skipped forward a little bit to see what's coming next, in issue 105, they ask us to undo all those screws and take it back off again. So it does seem a little bit pointless. Now, in between attaching it and unattaching it, they do ask us to install things like the trunk lid, the rocket boosters, the rear screen, all of that stuff. But then we have to take all of this off together with those bits attached to fit the rear lights. So particularly the screen bothers me because that's probably the most fragile part, and I really don't want to be unscrewing and screwing bits and pieces on like this with all of those delicate parts like the rocket boosters attached. I'd rather just do it once. And in fact, I would prefer to get the lights in, put the panel on, and then attach the screens and everything. So the best, in my opinion, the best way to do it is completely out of order. So if you're still receiving your parts, you might just want to put this to one side and the next few pieces that come, which are the rear screen and the trunk lid, and do them out of order. Because I think it just minimizes the chance of damaging anything. So I'm not going to attach it, but I'm going to let you see how it looks. And it looks like this, and it looks awesome. And I can only imagine how great it's going to look once we get the doors on and the rear trunk and all the glass, and we've got the interior in place. It's going to look absolutely amazing. I really do think they've done a great job with this model, even if the construction sequence is a little bit weird. So that's the end of this issue and the end of this video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. So please remember to click that like and subscribe button if you did. And I look forward to seeing you next time with the rest of the Batmobile. Do check out my other videos. We've got other builds on the go, including the Fast and Furious Supra, the John Wick Mustang, the Ford Falcon XB GT, and of course coming to the channel very soon, the 1989 Batmobile, and some other cars from Agora very soon. But they've not been launched yet. But as soon as they come out, we will be having them. We will be getting them on this bench and building them. So have a great day. Thanks for watching. Take care.